Good morning. Welcome to Stamping with me. I'm Pat Fairless. This is Learning with Friends, and I'm from Fairless Stampin Flair. Today is what day is it? It is Thursday, June 12th. Oh my goodness. It's going to be another one of those days, stampers. It is the second Thursday of the month, which means it is template time. So today we are doing a sketch, and it is my sketch number 2, which means we finally have completed this year sketches 1 through 6. June is the 6th month, but they were in no particular order. They were just in the order that I chose to do them. So I'm going to try to do a better job going forward, and we will try to go in order of numbers. I'll number them as I create them because, like I said last time, I only had 6 sketches that were my favorites. So we're going to be making some more, and I will try to do a better job of keeping them in order this time. But let's go ahead and let me show you the sketch and get started. We will switch here to the other camera. I'm still playing with my setup a bit here in my new location. Lighting has been a challenge, and I know I've had a couple of you tell me it looks good, so that makes me feel better because it doesn't look all that good in my setup and what I see. So it looks pretty good here on my desktop on my camera. It's more the one when I'm showing me. So that's kind of why I've chose not to put me in the corner today. And we're just going to focus on the desktop for now and see if I can get this all figured out. And we will go back to trying to see a little me in the corner. But here is our sketch number 2, and it has multiple pieces, which can, like I always say, be organized in any manner you like. It is a sketch or a template. It is not carved in stone, so change it up, and I'm going to show you cards today doing it in different orientations and different sizes even. I'm changing up the size on one of them. So let's just go ahead and get started. It is, since we are quickly approaching Father's Day, I decided to do a masculine card today, but let me just show you the pieces first. Now, I have, on my sketch, I have a layer on the front of the card, and then I have 3 pieces. Now, you can use as many or as few of these pieces as you want, obviously. I have matted all 3 of these. This is just scrap cardstock I had. This is a great layout if you have designer series paper that you want to use up, because we know how beautifully our designer series paper all coordinates. And so just pick 3 different ones from a pack, and you can put 1 on each. That's what I've done with my little template pieces here. And the typical positioning, or the position as shown in the sketch, is to place it like this. Okay, so I'm going to show you that once again. Here's the sketch. So we put the larger piece on the left, this side medium piece on the right, and this one down here in the corner. Now, the intent of the sketch is that when you put these on, and again, this is just a sketch, so you don't have to do this. I'm going to get rid of this piece because we don't even have to use that piece. But a goal you kind of want to do is to have, I should say not a goal, the intent of the sketch is that these 3 gaps are equal. And then when you lay this one on, this gap is pretty much equal with that one, and centered top to bottom. And then just put this one wherever you want. You can even put it this way. You can cut it down, which is what we're going to do for the card we make today. But don't forget, you can also do a portrait. You could leave this at the top. You could leave this exactly like we had it and just rotate it. Or maybe you like the bigger piece at the bottom and this at the top, and maybe you don't want it all equal. Maybe you want it something more like this. So don't be afraid to mix and match. You can even put the small one under, and this could be your sentiment in the shape of a flag. So use your imagination when you see a sketch. It's just meant to get your brain working and thought starters. Think of it that way. But I mentioned Father's Day is coming soon, so that means we start thinking about doing masculine cards. And I know many people indicate they are challenged to make masculine cards. A lot of my stampers say that, and frankly, I am too. I am going to use this Trusty Tools bundle today. It's perfect for guys, although don't forget, girls like tools too. And then it comes with all of these coordinating dies. I don't know how many are in here. What does it say? 20 dies. Now, the most difficult part about using these dies is getting them back all on the piece to fit. It's like a puzzle. Every time I take these and they're spread all over my work area, and now I try to get them back on and it's like, whoa, all right. This is like a jigsaw puzzle, getting them all to fit because there's so many of them. Probably should have been one of those that was divided into 2 sheets, but these are great dies. They coordinate with all of the tools and the stamps, plus and the pencil, plus there's some extra tools here. There's a paper snips, there's a drill. If you were lucky enough to get this when it first came out, there was designer series paper that also coordinated that you could use to die cut items. So it's a great stamp set for guys. I need a drink of water. Sometimes I do these videos and it's the first time I've talked that day. And my voice likes to get out. But so I've done a lot of my prep and assembly already. And I'm going to do our card in landscape mode as opposed to portrait. And we're just going to play around with it a little bit. I am using some designer series paper from Woven Textures. This is kind of really burlappy, not really burlap, just a woven, rough woven pattern. There's some linen, and there's multiple, there's basket weave, a lot of different woven pattern. That's probably why it's called Woven Textures. And I've pre-done a lot of my die cutting and assembly just to save time because the focus here is to use the template. So I have my large piece and I don't know, and then I used the pegboard from, we have this pegboard die, so I just cut the pegboard die. So I changed the size a little bit so it fit my pegboard. Do I want that up here? I had something in mind, but I keep changing my mind. I think we're going to stick with this. So it's close to the template, probably just in a mirror image to some extent. So let's just go ahead and attach those to the front of our card. Now, I did not use that extra layer. I decided to just stay with the Night of Navy colors here, a Night of Navy and Pecan Pie, and I used some Shaded Spruce. My color coach, who I refer to for help often, told me that that was a good color combination. And if you're watching me and haven't heard of the color coach, let me just, I'm going to grab my color coach here for Night of Navy. Night of Navy is a neutral. So if you look at, and I can't even remember which one I looked at, if you look at Night of Navy, here it tells you it goes with Pecan Pie and Cajun Craze. I think I have several of these. Every year Stampin' Up! Comes out with a new one, and I tend to keep them. Sometimes you don't have to just look at the card base, so I used pecan pie, so go to pecan pie and see what it might tell you goes with it. Pecan pie, and here we go. Here was my color combination that I chose. Pecan pie, Night of Navy, and Shaded Spruce. I use this for most of my cards. I am not good with colors. Colors stress me out. I don't know what goes together, I feel like. Even in my house, I kind of stick to black and white and gray, and then I'm like, oh, that works. But I know things need a pop of color. So when I got this, this was a lot of Night of Navy and pecan pie. I'm like, it needs a pop. So that's when I went looking for something. And I picked Shaded Spruce. Now I pre-made some of the tools. I have the hammer, the crescent wrench. I think these are some 10 snips and a box end wrench. Now this is not stamped, nor is this one. These are just, it dies. So I cut these out of silver foil, and we're just going to hang these on our pegboard. And I have a little sentiment from the stamp set. I just used the thank you. And the template would tell us to put it here. But if I want to slide it up a bit, I could, or I could slide it down. But let's try to figure out which tools look best in what order. I think I'm going to put up, maybe this camera's kind of long, so maybe we put him over here, because then he can peek out even below the thank you if I stick it somewhere here per the template. I don't want to confuse you too much by digressing too much from the template. And I don't know about you and your tools on your pegboards, but mine don't always hang evenly. They're kind of everywhere to make them fit. I need a pair of hanging posts. How about that? That'll work. All right, so then let's just go ahead and adhere these down. So I'm going to use liquid adhesive for this. I might pop a couple of them up on dimensionals, but the hammer I'm just going to keep flat because it's behind the sentiment, so I don't want to have to raise this too much. Let's go ahead and maybe I'm going to flip these around because I'm thinking I want to pop up the crescent wrench. Okay, we're going to do that. So I'm going to pop up every other one. So let's use some little dimensionals. And I have some small ones here. If you get my newsletter, now I'm going to need to trim this down for the handle. This probably was not the best selection for dimensionals. Because I need a little bit smaller ones. So let's just trim our. If you receive my newsletter, where you get more ideas and tips and tricks, it's a bi-weekly newsletter, and you will see that my inspiration card in the letter for this week was also made with this trusty tool. So I'm trying to give some ideas for masculine cards here in this time of leading up to Father's Day. Oh man, did I do that? Talk and stick dimensionals on at the same time? Bad idea. All right, good thing some of this is going to be covered up, right? I think they'll come off from the, I put them on the front instead of the back. That was not good. But they came off. So now I'm going to cut another little strip here. I And if I did any damage to my shaded spruce, it's pretty much going to get covered up by the sentiment, like I said. So, but as I was saying, I'm going to try to talk and do this at the same time and not make more mistakes. If you'd like to get my newsletter, there is a link on the top of my YouTube channel where you can subscribe. And it's a bi-weekly newsletter, so I don't do one every week. Okay. We're going to put that there, and any little mess up down there is nicely covered. Most things can always be fixed. Most things. Not all, but most. So my newsletter is a bi-weekly newsletter, so I do not send a lot of things to fill up your email. I know a lot of us get a lot of the email, and I'll be honest, things don't change every week at Stampin' Up. So I decided to make it a bi-weekly one. If you are on my team, they get one in the off weeks. Turn that off just a little bit there. I don't talk and stamp very well. I need to concentrate. Okay. But if you'd like to sign up for that, please look at the top of my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to my newsletter and get more ideas in your mailbox. If you like what you see on the videos, you'll get some additional ideas. And this one, I should have figured out where I needed to put this. Where's my trash? There's my trash. What I'm going to do is a trick I have is, this is raised up, so I know I don't want a dimensional line there. So I just stick it where I know it fits. And let's just put this there. I think that'll work fine. Now I'm going to add, because this is kind of hanging way over here, I am going to add a little bit of adhesive on this handle of the snips. And we'll stick it right about there. I think that'll hold it pretty well. Now, every card, even a masculine card, needs some kind of bling. So I have these little, what are called, textured dots. And we are just going to put one in each corner. I think is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put one in each corner of my sentiment. I know they say do things in threes, but I'm going to make this look like a little sign that's been nailed. To the card. So then we would probably have a little in each corner. So there we are. Now the inside, no naked insides. I use the paintbrush for the inside, and this is stamped. And again, I've probably used this paintbrush more than any of the other tools. This is a great one. It's stamped in pecan pie. The handle is stamped in shaded spruce. These handles on all of these, just FYI, were all stamped off. Shaded spruce is extremely dark, and my pad is kind of juicy, so it made it pretty dark. And it was covering up any of the detail in the first layer stamping, so I stamped off. Then I've got a little Night of Navy ink here, and I stamped that, and then I just kind of dragged it down a little bit, just to add a little bit of interest below the handle. And I am going to show you how I stamped the sentiment, but we'll put this on here first, and then I will show you. I did not make an envelope. I would just use the same textured DSP to cover the flap of my envelope, I think. Now, this stamp, you're awesome, and the stamp says you're the most awesome. Well, when you say you're the most awesome, you kind of need to say you're the most awesome what? And so I think it's made to coordinate with the dad. You're the most awesome dad. Well, my dad is no longer with us, has not. He's with me, just not here and in person. So I just wanted to turn this into you're awesome. And a great way to do that is to just mask your stamp. So I'm going to cover up the most with some Scotch tape. And that works well. Scotch tape, you can see what you've covered. You can use any kind of tape. You can use a Post-it note. You can use whatever works well for you. But the Scotch tape, I can see what I've covered up. So then you're just going to stamp or ink this up. Now, don't do this. That makes a mess. You need to remember to pull off the tape. And you know I know that because there's been way too many times where I didn't pull off the tape. And then you just stamp. And that way only the part of the sentiment you want shows. Easy peasy, right? So I'm going to give you that quick freebie extra tip. Here is our template time card. And let me show you two others. I knew I was forgetting to do something. So this card is made pretty much exactly like the sketch. Remind you of the sketch. Here's the sketch. So I embossed the back layer. I used the damask or damask, I'm not sure how to say that word, stamp set. And this card will be on my blog tomorrow. So it will have a tutorial which includes the sketch. And it has the dimensions of each of the pieces. The only thing I changed up was I added this little circle here with a sentiment on it. That card was made with textural text or text, something, the text, I don't have that with me. And then I also used this beautiful motifs. The stamp set I used does not have any sentiments. It's just got all backgrounds and text and splotches, which you can see I used the splotches, I used the text backgrounds to kind of grunge up the card a little bit. I even did a little bit of stamping here on the designer series paper. That's the beautiful gallery designer series paper. And this die cut comes from beautiful motifs. But I picked this because it had some sentiments. And then I also realized, hey, there's a couple of stamps here that are just kind of background things. So I also added those on there. So this one will be on my blog tomorrow. You'll see inside, just did a little bit more stamping. And the colors on there are gray granite and blueberry bushel. And then the last card that I'm going to show you, I did it a little bit different. But again, it is again in portrait mode. And the layout is with the three pieces is very similar. I did not put a piece on the back. I've turned this particular element here, you can probably see it better here, horizontally. And then I die cut some flowers from Pretty Florals. This is the Pretty Floral stamp set and dies. And I just die cut some flowers and kind of highlighted my sentiment, which I believe is also, yes, it is also from Beautiful Motifs. Thank you for everything. This is a great sentiment set. It's got some nice variety. So there is that card. In the inside, I just used a couple of the pieces of DSP. That is, oh, what is the name of that DSP? Can't think of it off the top of my head. Don't know. Pretty floral, something to do with pretty florals. So those are my 3 cards. So let's go ahead and I will make an envelope for this, I promise. But let's go ahead and flip my camera back. Okay. I made it. Sorry, I don't know all the names of all the stamp sets and all the designer series paper. I might, if they've kept the same thing for, 2-3 years. I'm still looking for stuff in my cabinets back here. I'm waiting for that to click in. It's like, where did I put my ink pads? Where did I put my blending brushes? Which cabinet's it in? The doors are getting a lot of exercise back here. But I'll get it memorized. I'm not promising I will ever memorize all the names of all the stamp sets and the designer paper, but that's what I had for you today. I hope you like that sketch. I hope you give it a try. And I will be back next week with a technique. Have an idea what it's going to be, but in case it doesn't work out, because I haven't made the cards yet, I'm not going to say because I might have to change my mind. That happens a lot too. I think I'm going to do something and then it's like, oh, I don't think so. I'm not ready to show this to anybody. So have a great day, friends. If you like the video, you give me a thumbs up. But more importantly, share it with your friends so they can learn with us and get some ideas and some inspiration. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.